ng COVID ay ma-account. I will hold myself responsible for this sole and solemn duty of answering for and in behalf of the executive department of all the funds that were spent in the fight against COVID. Huwag kayong mag-alala.
Wait lang. Ano daw? Derek, paki-rewind nga. Yan. Okay, stop. Play.
Huwag kayong mag-alala.
Have you ever wondered about the factors that are negatively affecting your mental health during the pandemic? If you did, this research is for you!
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Marielle Manahan, and alongside me are my co-pioneer group mates, Kaka, Jules, RD, and Mon. Today, we'll be discussing to you our research about the effects of social status and government's response towards the COVID-19 pandemic on the anxiety of Filipino college students. So, Mon, could you explain to them what our research is all about?
The COVID-19 pandemic is an unprecedented health crisis that has led to a dramatic loss of human life and has brought social, political, and economical repercussions worldwide. As a result, many countries implemented lockdown to minimize the rapid spread of the virus. Aside from physical and economical consequences of the disease, psychological impact has become probable as well. This is supported by the research of T et al. 2020, who examined the psychological impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the people living in the Philippines. The results of the research revealed that the pandemic has a moderate to severe psychological impact on people and that home quarantine is associated with depression, anxiety, and stress symptoms. Because of this, we decided to extend the findings regarding the psychological impact of the pandemic by examining the effect of subjective social status and government's response on the anxiety of Filipino college students.
That's really interesting and timely, Mon. But why did you choose to measure social status subjectively? Kaka, can you expound on that?
Subjective social status is the individual's perception of their own socioeconomic standing. We chose this because, according to the research of Operario 2004, subjective perceptions of social status provided a more consistent and strongly related association with overall health as compared to what objective gradings has elicited. Next is the perception of the government's response towards the COVID 19 pandemic. According to a large scale survey covering around 58 countries, the government's response towards COVID-19 pandemic has negatively affected the mental well-being of its citizens. Moreover, we examined the government's response since little research has been done regarding the effect of this variable on anxiety.
Now that the audience is familiar with the background of our research, Jules, what are the hypotheses of our study?
Prior to conducting our study, we already have these outcomes in mind. We hypothesized that lower scores on subjective socioeconomic status and perception regarding government response yields higher levels of anxiety relating to COVID-19.
I see. Perhaps can you expound the population and research design we use?
Of course. So during our data gathering stage, we were able to gather 400 participants by means of convenient sampling. From there, they answered an online survey which included the following: the MacArthur scale for determining their subjective social status, COVID Score 10 questionnaire for assessing participants' perception about the government's response towards COVID-19, and the Coronavirus Pandemic Anxiety Scale, which is also known as CPAS 15, for measuring the participants' anxiety relating to the pandemic, and Generalized Anxiety Disorder Questionnaire, which is also known as GAD 7, for assessing if the participants are experiencing symptoms of general anxiety disorder. As for statistical analysis, we utilize multiple linear regression to understand the relationship between two dependent variables, general anxiety and anxiety in relation to COVID 19, and two independent variables, social status and perception of government's response towards the COVID 19 pandemic.
Thank you, Jules. Our study is indeed useful in the development of mental health awareness in the midst of the pandemic. Now that we are thoroughly familiar with our study, are you excited for the results? Then, drum roll, please.
Results showed that both anxiety scales CPAS 15 and GAD-7 showed significant relationships with MacArthur's scale of subjective social status and the COVID score 10 by having a p-value less than 0.05. The results also supported our hypothesis, which is respondents with lower subjective socioeconomic status displayed higher levels of anxiety compared to respondents with higher subjective socioeconomic status. Furthermore, low SES showed the lowest satisfaction rate towards the government response on the COVID-19 pandemic. In the case of the relationship between perception of government response to anxiety related to COVID-19, it was revealed that low scores on the perception of government response indicated higher levels of anxiety related to COVID-19.
So basically, our results indeed support our hypothesis. It appears that the negative perception towards government response, as well as low subjective social status, reinforces anxiety on Filipino college students. With this, we recommend determining the scarcity of the government in addressing the COVID-19 pandemic in order to develop efficient strategies that will cater all people across all ages and social classes. If you are interested in extending our research, we recommend you sampling different populations, such as people from the working class and adolescents. Second, we recommend you to examine other mental health issues such as depression. And lastly, you can also focus on your local government unit's response towards the pandemic.
We hope that you learned a lot of things from us in our study. Always keep in mind that our mental health is as important as washing our hands and social distancing. We also hope that our research will contribute in promoting mental health in the Philippines. That's all. Thank you and stay safe. Bye!